How's it going, everyone? We finally are having a blizzard here in Tennessee, and it feels great. It's like 25 degrees right now, and I figured what better way to go play in the snow than to see if I can get hypothermia first or if this camera will break. This is the Ricoh GRiii, and we picked it up a few days ago for my son. He was burning me up on film, so I wanted to get him a small point and shoot digital camera, but I also know that the GRiii is a favorite among street photographers, so we'll see if the camera breaks first or if my fingers break off in the cold. Without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. Now, as an added bonus to today's episode, we have 4-ball tires, all-wheel drive, and a 5-speed transmission. It should make it pretty fun in the snow. I am going to use extreme caution. Obviously, I don't want to be dumb and entice other people to be dumb with me with driving choices. So just want to clear that up for all the safety gurus out there. I do want to mention that this is not going to be a proper review of this camera. I just wanted to go out and get used to it, but as far as the settings go, I am going to shoot everything in RAW. I've heard the JPEGs are great on the Ricohs, but without knowing from personal experience, I want to have control over the images. But one thing that I do like about this thing is everything can be handled with one hand, which helps because I'm carrying around the R today too. And I don't think there will be a lot of human contact today, so this is mostly going to be object photography, just walking around and getting used to this camera. So let's go take some pictures. So new challenge for the day, I have 2 left-handed gloves. That was ill preparing on my part. Fortunately for me, even though this hand is gonna rot and die and freeze and break off, I can operate the Ricoh solely with this hand that has a glove on it.
I guess it's all right.
Hey, you don't even have to smile. You just keep doing what you're doing. You're my first human contact while being out here today.
Uh-oh. Everybody else is trying to stay inside, huh?
So it is pretty dead today. We already live in a small town, and whenever it snows, people, for whatever reason, go get the bread and the milk, and they stay in their house. So I've not really caught a lot of people. I saw the guy in the van, but he quickly escaped into the van before I could grab a shot. Ooh, that's icy. Yeah, very, very dead. So now I'm kind of working the back alleys of our little downtown area to see if we can catch some interesting objects here. Taking pictures of dumpsters because this day is literal trash out here. Also, I have removed the glove from the camera hand because the Ricoh's buttons are super tiny, and even though that glove is fairly skinny, I can't really get my fingers on the shutter button. Either that or it's just because they're like super cold. But yeah, now both hands will most definitely, without a doubt, no question about it, freeze and fall off. So one thing too is with the Ricoh, this is the GR3, the normal version, so it's got a 28mm equivalent, and that's a focal length that I'm really not familiar with shooting photos. Most of the stuff that I do is pretty tight, between like 50, 85. I don't do a lot of wide shooting, which I know for street photography sounds weird, but I don't claim to be a street photographer. I do like coming out and shooting street from time to time. So getting used to the 28mm is a little weird. It's pretty wide, but not wide at the same time. You still get a lot of the scene, and especially when there's no people out, it just makes everything feel so big. It makes the scene feel bigger than probably what it is, if that makes sense. I think today has turned into an environmental shoot day. Just shooting anything and everything. On a side note, this video may just go ahead and conclude the fact that I'm quite possibly the worst photographer in the history of forever, because so far I've gotten some shots that I wouldn't write home about. Certainly wouldn't put them in a portfolio by any means. And I don't even know if I would consider them good for test shots for this camera. It's been a crap outing. I'm trying to make something out of it for you guys, but sometimes you got to be honest with yourself too, and the cold has set in as well. My hands have about had it, and everything else on me is pretty okay right now, but it's not the Ricoh's fault. The Ricoh performed flawlessly. It did not freeze one time, didn't have any hiccups with it. I think the one-handed manipulation was great. The only thing that I regret today is that there were actually no humans out, and I thought that would be a good thing with me trying to get used to the camera, but I'm realizing that because I'm a people person, I do like having people in my compositions, and on a 28mm lens, what I've discovered, it's hard for me to find a composition of just objects with no humans in that environment. So that is one thing that I learned today. I actually do need some people in my composition if I am going out with that focal length. It's a weird focal length for me, so definitely something I want to get used to. We'll put that in future videos just so you can see my growth with 28mm. Like I said, I don't shoot it a lot. The star of the show today definitely shined, and that was the cold. Definitely ran me back home with my tail between my legs. We don't get a lot of good snows here in Tennessee. We definitely don't get weather this cold. Typically, it's in the 20s right now, 20 degrees Fahrenheit. 30-year-old me couldn't handle it today. So thank you guys for coming along for the journey today, for being part of this channel. We'll definitely be putting out some videos of the Ricoh in the future. I do want to sit down and do a proper review of the GR3 for you guys, just so you can further see how great of a little camera it is, because obviously today I did it no justice. But I did want to try to brave the cold to get some shots. So I think I'm gonna go home and thaw out and probably eat some soup and steak. Y'all have a good one.